I've seen it so many times, you know, in other fellow artists and especially musicians. I've seen it a lot now that we all have studios at home and computers and we can make music at home. That you know, it's very hard for a lot of people to finish something. You know, just to say this is it and finish it and mix it and publish it. The the they people get so stuck in perfectionism, you know, and trying to make this one piece of music like perfect, or sitting and wondering, oh, should it be like this, should it be like that, should it be like this, should it be like that, and it becomes this just a torture. And I think also this the lack, they don't understand the shelf life, you know, of a creative process. It has to be fresh and interesting, and it's not going to be fresh and interesting forever, you know. At some point it's going to be like, look, you know. I heard also a lot of people now, that people I follow on Instagram, who go like, work fast. That's the advice they give, you know. You just work fast and get it all with. And I understand why, because this whole perfectionism is really the enemy of all of this, you know. Because, and again, you know, the reference is children and the way they operate. They don't care, you know. And also, children care so much more about the process than the result. So perfectionism doesn't even enter in their heads as a problem or an issue, because what is really interesting to them is the path of getting there. They play, so it's the playfulness that gets them there. That's what interests them, right? And what I've done a lot is, whenever I'm in a situation like that, where I think, you know, this could be better, I could have done it like this, or should I go back and redo it, or, you know, it is much better to decide to see it as a learning process and apply what you've learned, you know. So if you want to feed that perfectionism monster, you just say, I'll learn from this and then apply it the next time I make a song. Because productivity is so important, and productivity is the rarest thing among artists. Most artists are artists just on the paper or just in their heads. They don't have a body of work to show for, because they like they sit there and you know, are just tortured by perfectionism into total barren existence of no output at all whatsoever. And yeah, and it's much better to say, I'm gonna find a process I enjoy. It's much better to be like, the joy of the process is gonna be the measure of the quality of my work. You know, the fun and how interesting this is to me, and how fun it is, and how exciting this is to me. That is gonna be my criteria, whether this is going well or not. And also, if I do mistakes and things are not exactly how I wanted them, and things could have been better, and I should have, the mix should have been more like this, apply it to your next project, you know. Also, I've done this, like when I finished a record, I would just write down 10 things that I learned from this last project. Like, what can I do better, you know, and apply it to the next one. And even when you sit there and go, yeah, this is not exactly how I wanted it, I'm gonna have to, like, you know, let go of something here, I'm gonna do it again. And that also keeps you on that kind of dynamic, you know, forward moving, you know, urge of doing it again, because you want to apply what you've learned. And you can only learn by doing, and you can only apply it if you do it again. So it becomes like, you know, a step and a next step and a next step, instead of this sitting there and being dumb perfectionistic with everything, you know, which is just, it's a waste of everybody's time, and it makes no sense. No, that's what I think.